Good afternoon, all. Welcome to
Hello.
another episode of the weekend edition of Midweek Mix-Up Podcasts with myself and my awesome co-host, the General C. How are you doing today, brother?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Yourself?
Good stuff, good stuff. Thank you very much, Mr. Joanna Dark. I hope you enjoy the VOD when you catch up. Before we get into our full introductions, let's give a warm welcome to everybody that's already in chat here today. So, Apachai, welcome, brother. Of course, you'll see him lurking most of the time from any one of his two channels. Today, it's Apachai, so welcome, chaps. Of course, Boxer Bear, I know you're there in the background lurking. Sean is also lurking in the background there. Of course, we've got Silent Cypher here in the chat, Stuffed Sean, and of course, many more. No doubt that'll be in and out, and Marion the Mad, of course, there as well. Welcome to everybody that's joined us. Hope you enjoy the show. We'll be diving pretty much straight into the topics today, but let's get into the introductions first. General C, how you been, brother? What you been up to? What you've been playing? What you've been trying to get done?
Not too bad. I got a mixer, like we talked in the green room. Some issues. It's gonna have to go back. So that's my mission for the next day is to get that back and get something to replace that because it's just not working. I got a new microphone as well, as you can see.
Woo!
Been playing a lot of Halo Infinite.
The last one, I have to admit that it is much.
I've noticed.
But then again, it's a really good one, isn't it? A Shure or Shure?
It's a Rode something. I'm terrible with remembering what the microphone's called, but I got a new microphone. Had all plans to record. Spent all day setting it up when I got it to figure out the issues. Couldn't figure it out, and then I spent all day yesterday trying to figure it out. Tried to enlist the help of Asa from Game on Daily on that, and even he couldn't figure it out. And in the end, we both just came to the
conclusion that it's broke.
Conclusion that it's probably broke. So yeah, it's got more than one issue. It's actually got 3 issues I'm having with it, and it's not right. So
yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I've been playing a lot of Halo Infinite, and we're going to be getting into that because there's been some disappointments with some announcements there. Played a bit of PUBG with you and Stuart throughout the week, and that was a hell of a lot of fun. And
it
I
was.
really want to get back into that
after this show. To be fair,
I'm up for that. What else was I playing? I've been playing that Power Rangers game because I've got a parcel play coming for that. That should be out sometime next week. I'm not sure what day that will be because
I'm still laughing at the fact that you chose Power Rangers as the first one back.
I mean, I'm a huge fan.
But which Power Ranger are you?
I don't know. Pink one, probably.
It's as close as the purple. Is that it?
Yeah. But yeah, I've been playing that. I've got some things to say on that in the parcel play episode. So I can't wait to actually record that. Hopefully tomorrow night, and then I've got to edit it all together. And I played another game earlier from Game Pass, Kill It With Fire. Like you got to kill spiders and bugs, I'm guessing. But so far it's just been spiders. I don't really know what that game's about. Just downloaded it to have a quick see what it was like.
Right.
But that's really it. That's what I've been playing and what I've been doing.
Awesome.
I'm working on videos. I do have a Hunt Showdown video in the work. I've got to continue writing that over the next few days. It's about halfway wrote. And then the Parcel Play series is coming back. So that's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, that'd be good to see. I'm thinking of doing a probably fortnightly indie review as well, but I think I'm going to find someone to guest that with us. It's going to be kind of an offline pre-recorded type of thing, but essentially do play an indie game and then every fortnight kind of give that indie game a review.
With might be worth reaching out to Duncan from Gamers Watch. He loves his indie games.
Yes, could very well do that. Get into that. But I've already got kind of things ready. It's called Indie Corner. So I've got kind of some of the logo and everything already generated for it. It's just getting around to getting the format down and things. But that should be fun. I'm always thinking about new types of content and experiment on and different things to do, but it's just making sure it's the right thing as well.
Yeah, and the time consuming element is part of the decision as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I've got 2 weekly shows already, so I don't want to add another third weekly show. So I'd rather kind of have this in a pre-recorded format, so it kind of fits around. So essentially, we can record it pretty much any time throughout the week, and then I can put it up on a set day. Just depends. I'd have to figure out what day. I'd probably end up having released that on like a Friday. That would make sense because then I would have Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So I've got 3 set days. And obviously after Sunday, you don't want to release it on a Monday. Then technically only got Monday and Tuesday with either no content or streaming. So that's good. Darj Knight, welcome, brother. And
streaming.
of course, Apachai has changed from one account to his barely making rent account. Andy's back at Apachai, unless there's 2 of them there. Who knows?
He's multitasking. He's got both his monitors.
Awesome.
Typing away at the same time.
Oh, awesome stuff. Yes, but I've been playing GT7. And I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. And of course, with yourself and Stu the other day, played some PUBG, which was absolutely awesome.
Such a good time.
Really
there were
fun.
some funny moments there. We were singing away. Yep. We were singing away. Yeah, that was a barrel of fun.
It was really good, and I think like I say, once we get, because we are going to have a community PUBG night as well with custom teams, so we'll have duos, teams of 4, potentially look to, depending on how many people will get in there, potentially have look to do kind of large scale wars where it's like 16v16 or something like that, depending on how many people can get in, or 8v8, which would be absolutely awesome. And then, of course, top that off with a game of zombies where it's like 4 people are human and the rest are zombies trying to go after them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That's the first time I played it in like, it's got to be like 3 years.
Yeah. We did well, to be fair. We got quite a few top 10s. It was just a case of when we got there, it was either just missing out because of circle or fighting. And that's the thing. Half the time, you just spend too much time that you forget about the circle. And you too much time like trying to pin someone down or trying to pick someone off.
Yeah, and we did end the night with a chicken dinner. That was a good one.
Yes.
That was where you went behind the guy and I went in front of him, so he didn't know who to deal with.
Yeah. Barely making rent, probably next weekend, I'd imagine. We just need to get. I'm just putting it into the Discord. We'll get numbers there from people who can attend there, and put it out on Twitter, etc. Yeah, stuff shown. If you download PUBG, we're going to probably play a few rounds of PUBG after the show tonight. So if anybody's down for that, feel free to play straight after this show. We'll probably take like a 15-minute break or something to get a drink together, load the game up, and then we'll be on. So anybody that wants to play PUBG, feel free to jump on straight after this.
Yeah, there'll be no peanut butter sandwich breaks for me this week. I've had my dinner. I got that out of the way early.
Yeah, same. Yep, exactly the same. No food break.
I was a little bit late last week when we played Halo. I was like 15, 20 minutes late.
Yep. No, that's all right. It's fine. Anyway, speaking of Halo, first topic for today. People will have seen the eventual update from the from 343 on their blog post. My personal opinion, it's not a positive one. People can defend the studio and developers as much as they like, but at the end of the day, I'm not bothered if the game wasn't the multiplayer was free to play or not. The single player was not free to play. Yes, you can buy it and get it in Game Pass. However, if you like myself or potentially Jen or quite a few other people who purchase Halo because we're fans of Halo, and we very much got a right to criticize where criticisms are due. And we do it in the right way. We don't kind of kick off with them specifically. But if we don't call them out on it, it's not going to change. Their update essentially clarifies that there is still no additions to the game. There is no updates to the game until May. Nothing. Zero's being added. Nothing's being changed until May. eventually, when it does, there's only 2 maps. So that's 2 additional maps
Yep.
being
And
added.
one of them's a big team battle, and the other one's a small arena
Yeah, one
map.
small arena map and
can't
one
even
big
talk
team
today.
battle map,
It's
which
pretty
is
disappointing.
underwhelming to say the least. On top of that, then it starts the new season. So there's a few new bits of armor. Again, not much. The co-op isn't going to be ready for the beginning of season 2. It's potentially going to be ready within season 2, which is anything up to 3 months. We've got Forge being pushed back till season 3, so that's probably another 5 months away. And even then, they said we'll try and fit it within season 3, but there's no guarantees. So that could end up being maybe fall this year, which is November, December. I mean, so 2 maps, a little bit of armor, and that's it for the next 5 months. It's been 6 months since launch, and we've had a few refinements to get the game working properly, some store refinements, and then the only update that we're going to get in the new season is 2 maps.
It's very
just not good
disappointing.
enough. It's just not. It's a live service game. At the end of the day, for a live service game, you need to be adding things relatively frequently, including armor, including weapons, including skins. The skin, like the actual, like if you're gonna want people to buy things in your store, at least have a store that has stuff worthy of buying in it.
Yeah,
There
a
is
lot of it's
nothing in the
very
store that's
generic
worth
stuff.
buying. And even then, it only has like 5 things in there at
In
any one
rotation.
time. There's nothing to buy. So what's the
I
point
don't know
of
why they
having
don't just do.
microtransactions if you can't buy anything?
Yeah, I don't know why they don't just do the store as just a store and add new armor to it over time,
Yeah.
rather than this weekly refresh
Yeah.
stuff. It's just pointless. At least then people ain't got to worry about, is that item going to come back? If you want limited armor, just add a limited section to that store that the armor is going to be coming and going.
I like that comment. that's pickled as that one. I think you're right.
Well, I said something similar on. I think it was in response to Gaz's tweet about Halo content. I said, for a game that's got infinite in its name, it's lacking the content.
Yeah, it's what it is though, and I appreciate people who wanted to go in on Halo immediately and they were frustrated with the initial news about Halo. I always give developers the benefit of the doubt these days, specifically in the COVID time. But they've had a year's delay. I've gave them the benefit of the
That's the
doubt
point,
after
though.
launch.
Like, what would this game have looked like if it come out when it wasn't delayed?
Oh God, yeah. But
we would have probably had even less content.
Yeah, exactly. And even seeing that, it's these timed modes and things they've got in for the online as well, where you can get them and then they disappear. Like the samurai stuff is now like there's no way of getting that now because they've moved on to the next one.
I didn't even have the effort to bother with that samurai.
Like I thought originally they said you could get a battle pass, and then when that battle pass, like you could pick up an old one and then just do that one instead. But that's not the case, is it?
Nope. So that samurai armor is basically gone now until they decide to bring it back, if they do.
Exactly. So the battle pass thing, I don't know what they were talking about. Like essentially, they were saying you can buy a battle pass and then go back and like later on you can just play through that one, but you can't because they're events.
Yeah, that's like
that's
classed as season 1 content, right?
Yeah. So they're not battle passes; they're events.
That Tenrai was essentially just like a mini battle pass, and now it's gone for good. I would rather have them just said, "Oh, we're bringing out a mini battle pass. You can pay the extra money to get the content in it," and I would have been fine with that. But instead, it's gone for good.
Yeah. Or once it's finished, you put that in the store. If anyone wants to buy it, you can buy it. If you wanted to grind for it, you had your chance to grind for it for free.
There's not many people out there that like to be forced into playing a game constantly just to unlock stuff like that.
That's the point, and I'm not. Like even now, like I've got maybe 2 months to finish this battle pass off. Am I in a rush? Hell no. I'll probably try to get up to. The only thing I want out of this one is a meals suit.
Yeah, I
That's
get
pretty
that
cool.
90, I think. I
Yeah.
finally finished mine last week
So I
sometime.
get up to 90. So I've unlocked him, and that's it.
Mm.
I'm leaving it. Fuck it. I'm not spending. I'm not going through another. What is it? 40 levels or something I've got left. Maybe 33 levels. I'm not grinding all that way for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to get the next battle pass, I want a proper progression system into it. I will not purchase another
But it's
battle
got to have
pass till then.
content for starters, like
Mm.
actual content. Like it's
It's
too
just
like
such a
far
shame.
too like little and far too much spaced apart. Like the vast majority of levels are still like challenge swaps and
Mm.
XP boosts and then
A
what?
lot of people don't like challenge systems like that. I can't stand that. Pick up a weapon. If it's a weapon I don't like, it's going to take me
Or force you to play a mode
even
you want
longer.
to play.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
it's just I don't get the mentality with
Yeah.
it. It's kind of frustrating. As
Oh,
a fan of
100%.
Halo, that's been a fan of Halo since Halo 2, and then I went back to play the original, and I played every single one of them with my dad. I didn't get to enjoy co-op with my dad like I traditionally
Yeah.
would do, and I've got to wait even longer because they still haven't got things right with the co-op.
Yeah.
So
So
it should have
but
been
even saying
delayed
that, I
again.
mean the battle pass thing, this 100 tier battle pass is probably the first one. So the other mini ones that we're speaking of are literally non-accessible after this.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, why even do that?
Like you should they should be theoretically just into the
Mm,
store, and you shouldn't just have this like you mentioned before, this like cyclical thing where they just put 5 crap bits in every now and again, and the esports weapon like you just ditch them.
mm.
But the esports stuff's been in there for 6 months, and that's the only thing in the store that's worth buying. Nothing there. Like you had
I haven't even
Katya's for
touched
a
any of
bit,
that esports stuff. It
you
doesn't
had a
appeal to
Halo or
me.
something for a bit, but that's it. Oh, it is frustrating, and like I say, I give them the benefit of the doubt of the benefit of the doubt at the start, but to see that update after 6 months of launch, no
Mm,
story additions, um, no online edition. You've got two maps, one big team battle, one arena. That's not good enough. No real
yeah,
options for armor. There's going to be a few, but there's not much. And again, that'll be within the battle pass, so you've still got to grind all the way through for stuff that you don't really care about. I thought, like, if
mhm,
you're going to do microtransactions in the game at all, then you want to have a store where you can just buy it, so people don't have to
yeah,
grind in the
and
battle pass. If someone wants to just buy it because, oh, right, okay, I like that armor, I want that. I don't care about the battle pass. I just want to have that armor. No, you can't have it.
yeah. It comes to mind though. Like, no one really even asked for Halo's multiplayer to be free to play,
No.
and we just got it. And a lot of people were just complacent with it.
But
They
the
were
vast
fine with
majority
it.
of other like MTX based games, you can either buy it or you can grind for it. If you want it for free, you grind for it.
Mm,
If you want to buy it, then you can buy it. And some people are like, oh yeah, but I fought really hard for this and played loads of matches to get this. Well, that was your choice if you don't want to pay for it. And vice versa. If someone just wants to spend 20 quid on an armor set, let them spend 20 quid on an armor set. That's their choice. But
mm,
give people that choice. Don't just like restrict it and say, no, you have to grind level 100 to get this particular bit of armor. Or you get one shoulder pad, then you've got to get the other shoulder
yeah,
pad, then you've
that's
got to get the other
so
knee pad, then the
ridiculous.
other
Like,
knee pad.
you got
Like,
to
why
get a
singular
level to
shoulder
get
pad?
one shoulder pad, and
Yeah.
then level to get a boost item, and then level to get the next shoulder pad. Okay,
Yeah.
there are a set of
Or they're
shoulder
like
pads.
5
It's the
shoulder
same
pads
shoulder pad,
apart. Yeah.
but it's for the left arm instead of the right arm.
Exactly like Perrinpluk said in the chat there. Like Sea of Thieves. You
Mm.
can grind all the way through and get it, or you can just unlock it. You can just buy it. That's exactly what it should be.
Hopefully they see sense
Yeah.
and they make some drastic changes. That the YouTuber the Act Man, he's put a few videos out to do with Halo and its lack of content. He put one out recently. I've not watched it yet, but I can't imagine he's got good things to say about it.
I don't think anybody has, and people are trying to defend. Oh, leave the devs alone, etc., etc., etc. Well, no. If you've got to be critical of things when they're wrong. If they're wrong, then you have to point them out. You have to be critical of them. You can't just let them off all the time. At the end of the day, the developers, they're developing a game. If the game's content isn't coming out, then what the hell are they doing?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
have
the
to
only
call them out on
thing,
this stuff. There's
the only thing I don't
550
agree on
people at
is
the
like
studio.
toxic people attacking them.
550 people at 343.
Mm.
And you're telling me there's zero content created in 6 months?
It makes me laugh as well because they've
two
got
maps and
these
some
other
armor.
teams. They've got these other teams that have worked on battle passes, and there's always other games that have got battle passes, and it didn't occur to them to do their research.
Speak to Ray. Speak to Ray. They're doing the battle pass perfectly. How much content are Ray putting out on a quarterly basis now for Sea of Thieves? There's new adventure modes, new story modes, new online quests, new armor, new ship sets, new customization, new quests, new custom quests, new loads of random stuff, new tall tales, new legends tales. Battle passes reset all the time with new stuff.
Yeah, like they're all under the same Microsoft roof. Why would they not?
And they've
just
always
talk
said,
to each other?
speak to each other if you need help. So 343, please, for the love of God, go and speak to Ray and say, how have you got this mapped out and down so quickly? Like we understand your Sea of Thieves wasn't great for the first couple of months, but after that first few months, even after the first 3 months, they started getting battle passes and tall tales involved. And then after the tall tales started getting involved, they started refining it and adding more things to it and adding more things to it. Like within the first year of it being out, they'd already added that much stuff. It was completely a different game to the first time it stayed out. We're talking 6 months of Halo Infinite so far since launch. There's been no update or roadmap. The only roadmap we've got was this update from essentially the other day, 2 days ago.
And you can't even call that a roadmap. It's just it's coming.
It's coming at some point when we can get it working. So they still haven't got Forge. They've still got no idea. Essentially, Co-op. They say we still plan to have it in season 2. That doesn't guarantee it's going to be in season 2. We still plan. And then some armor and 2 maps, 1 arena and 1 big team.
That's not enough. There's a lot.
6 months.
A lot of players out there that don't even play big team battle.
Yeah.
That's not enough for the people that play in arena modes, and I'm pretty sure the people that play the arena modes, they outweigh the people that play big team battle.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's we're not being critical for the sake of being critical. I've given the benefit of the doubt. It's been 6 months.
I mean, just
if this update had said, right, okay, we've seen the cry for more content. We know they need more content. We're working on additional maps. We've got 2 ready for the start of season 2. We're going to have another 2 in the middle of season 2 and another 2 at the end of season 2. Fine. That's 6 maps. Brilliant. That's what you call rolling out content. But
I mean, if we look at past Halo games, if we look at the past Halo games, this Halo is very hollow with its content in comparison. Even Halo 5 launched with so much more content than this. There was lack of content in that as well, but it was, in comparison, there was still so much more content with Halo 5. I mean, look at Halo Reach. We got Halo Reach that came out. It had tons of armor in it, loads of maps, and they added maps. I think it was every 2 months there was a map pack.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there was some free maps in that as well. Like they launched a free map every now and then. So there's always been primarily a lot of content with Halo, and this one just feels so hollow. It's unreal. We was promised 23 maps at launch. Where are the rest of the maps?
Yeah, exactly. And you are, I mean, Fanto, you are right. Obviously, Battlefield blamed 2042 blamed Halo for 2042, but I mean, Battlefield's a whole nother ball game. That shit was broke. Like the UI was broken.
Gameplay wise, Halo's amazing. It launched near perfect.
Yeah.
In comparison
in terms of its actual gameplay, you can't fault Halo. That's why we'll never ever mention the gameplay, because the gameplay is chef's kiss. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
the gameplay is one of the reasons why I'll keep going back to it.
Yep.
I've
And the
only
only
got back
reason, to be
into it
fair, it's the
recently
only
because
reason.
of PC.
Yeah. The
But
only reason we go back to Infinite is because the gameplay itself is fun. And if it wasn't for the fact that with my community, at least, I can put on these hilarious custom games where we just do whatever. We turn up the percentage of speed to
I'll
like
turn it all the way down. That's
400%
just
and
hilarious.
turn down the gravity to like 10% and let everybody float around with hammers. If it wasn't for silly game modes that I can create like that, people would have been bored off it a long time ago, because that there's only so much you can play together in normal modes than anything else. And the maps, like you see, even the big team maps, like a lot of them aren't great. And it's not just us that's saying it. Like a lot of the actual dedicated Halo community are saying, like, these aren't well thought out maps, specifically for like
How
when you're
many
talking
big
about
team
tournament
maps
games.
are already in the game? It's like 3 now, 4.
Yeah, four big team maps, and 2 of them are very similar. Very similar.
Fanto says Reach was always his favorite. Yeah, it was my favorite as well, and probably still is, campaign wise.
On par with 2 for
multiplayer.
me. On par with 2. 2 and Reach were brilliant, unbelievable games. Really, really great.
Yeah, like
essentially all we
so
want,
far has been
all we want out of Halo, and I'm obviously speaking from yourself, and I know there's a lot in the community that are thinking the same thing. It's content. Provide more maps. Like, we need something different in the game now. It's 6 months and we've been playing the same old, I think, 6 arena maps or even less. And four big team maps. And because we don't play big team that much, because we don't give a shit about big team, the reason we don't give a shit about big team is because there's only about one map. Maybe you get tanks and stuff in. Like, what happened to the old modes where you used to just get, like, it used to be bonkers. You should have 2 or 3 tanks driving around, things flying about every 2 seconds. Now you're lucky if a tank gets dropped off once a round.
It's so random.
And then sometimes you get dropped off. You get 2 or 3 tanks dropped off at one end of the map.
And then the
So
other
the other
enemy,
team's
the
got
enemy
2 or
team
3
get them
tanks.
all.
You've got bot all. You've got nothing. It's just so weird. I don't understand why they've done it that way, but essentially right now, other than playing custom games with the community, I'll not be playing that thing online. Or even trying to grind on it. But we just want them to get better. We want more content. Give us more maps.
If Forge just, like, if they somehow got Forge right, we wouldn't be having this issue, because there'd be so many community-made maps. Everyone would be fine.
I understand the delay in Forge is because they're including literally everything that's ever been in a Halo game into Forge. Like they're trying to put everything in there they possibly can from previous Halo titles, regardless of what it is. So I understand why it might be taking so long to get that ready. But you're right. If there was a Forge, there wouldn't be a content issue, because the community would be creating new maps and new modes and everything like that to go along with it.
There's an entire community of Forge players that just make maps. That's what they love to do. It's pretty much where they spend most of their time on Halo, is making the maps.
Yep. And when that's up and ready, you can absolutely bet your bottom dollar we'll be doing loads of community maps, all these brand new community-made maps and all these things all the time. But it's got to get
Custom
it right.
games is where it's at the moment.
They can still redeem themselves, but right now the pace of content release is fucking too slow. Far too slow. 2 maps in 6 months is just ridiculous. I'm sorry, like I mentioned before, and the reason I keep mentioning this, but there's 550 developers working at 343. 550. You're telling me it takes even a third of that to create 2 maps? What's the rest of them doing? I'm sorry, but there's indie developers putting out more than this.
Exactly. It's just
there's much smaller development studios there's much smaller development studios with live service games that are putting out more than this. In fact, I want to have a quick check here to see how many people are working at Ray. And even then, how many people are working on Sea of Thieves? Ray staff numbers. They've probably increased this since now, but up until 2020, so a couple of years back, they had 250 staff. So even if you say, for the sake of numbers, add
half
another
the
100
amount of
to that.
staff,
Add another 100
and they're
to
getting
that.
twice the amount of content.
Yep. We're talking 350 people working at Ray. If we add another 100 to that, which they would have done for the fact that they've obviously got half of those will be working, believe it or not, on Fable.
On
At least
Everwild,
half, if not more than half, will be working on Fable, and the rest are working on Sea of Thieves. So you're talking maybe it's about 100 to 150 people maybe he's working still on Sea of Thieves, and the rest are working on Fable. Oh no, it's Playground Games that's working on Fable. They're doing Everwild, aren't they?
Everwild, yeah.
Everwild. Yeah. So then Everwild staff, obviously the people that are working on that, they're going to have a chunkier amount of their staff numbers working on Everwild than they are on Sea of Thieves. Saying Sea of Thieves is 200, even with 200, that's still less than half of the staff that are working on Infinite.
And they're getting twice, even 3 times the content out.
Yeah. 3 times the content. And it's not little content, it's loads of tall tales. The map's expanding, they're adding new places, they're expanding the map. It's just insane the amount of stuff that's going into Sea of Thieves now. So the
they
people
really need to reach out to Rare and get some advice.
They do. The people who are defending 343 still don't know how to be critical in a positive manner. The reason we're asking for more content is because you're 6 months into the life of the game. By the time it comes round to the game actually getting these 2 new maps, that's 8 months into the game.
Let me just check the old Steam charts for it.
Oh god, do you want to have a look at how many? Did you say how many players Elden Ring has?
It's like 1 million, close to 1 million, right?
It's almost 1 million concurrent players on Steam. Just Steam, that's not including console, and I know a boatload of people are playing that. That is by far FromSoft's biggest game in their history.
Halo is not even in the top 10 of Steam charts.
Oh, I've got massive FOMO on Elden Ring as well, by the way. Barely making rent. Massive FOMO.
All-time peak is
200 odd.
256,000.
Yep.
On PC. The last 24-hour peak is 11,367.
On PC.
3 minutes ago, 7,985 were playing. So it's dropping. People are losing interest.
Yep. And that's because there's no content.
There needs to be, for a free-to-play game.
Halo dedicated Halo content creators have come out and said, we love the game, but it's really hard to make content on a game with no content. We can't just keep doing the same stuff over and over again because people get bored of watching it. Because there is no content, there's nothing fresh, there's nothing new. I can't go onto a new map and do something new because there is no new map to do something new on. So I'm just playing the same stuff over and over again. So those people that were trying to make content can't make content.
It's not even just that, it's the lack of game modes as well.
Yeah.
Where's the fun game modes like Infection?
Yeah.
Infection was always a huge part of Halo. It started as a custom game, community-made mode in Halo 2. I remember playing on Xbox Live for the first time and discovering that where you had to like just switch team. It was down to really an honor system.
Yeah.
You had to, if you died, you had to switch team or you'd get kicked from the game. And that's where Infection came from. And then Halo 3 had an Infection game mode and then so on. Where is that game mode? That's a game mode that people have championed to come to Halo Infinite at launch, and it's not there.
Yeah. And barely making rent, you have got a point. It isn't surprising Elden Ring is killing it. FromSoft releases great finished games with loads of content, crazy. All it takes is to release a finished product. You are right. Of course, it's not perfect. We know it's not perfect on all systems. We know that on Xbox they've got the benefit of VRR, obviously FreeSync. on their console so that you don't have the drops and things, or the drops that you do have, it's not noticeable. Now on certain Sony screens, you've also got the benefit of VRR, so you can use that. Performance here or there on next gen versions hasn't been great. I know they're improving it, but in terms of the actual content in the game, I've not heard one person that's played Elden Ring and said it's lacking content, because it's absolutely full of new areas, new things, places to explore, people to fight, new quest things, random NPCs, loads of things to do. It's got to work in multiplayer when you unlock the multiplayer quest. There's loads to it. There's lots to it, and it's, to be fair, I think it's doing so well because it's more open to more people, but it's also open world. And the reason it's better as an open world is because the actual combat becomes easier, because you can actually navigate a little bit better. You're a little bit more maneuverable. You're not getting stuck on walls and things. Overall, it is like you say, it's a polished game. They didn't have to go absolutely buck wild on the graphics. As we know, it looks pretty, but it's by no means the most graphically intensive game that's ever released. They've just released something that is in their style, and it's done well, and it looks good, and it performs well. The combat's satisfying. You've got plenty of choice. I think it's 6 different versions of people you can be in the game. So yeah, it deserves the praise that it's got so far.
Mm-hmm. And word of mouth is traveling, and people are just buying that game up. It's probably going to cross 1 million copies sold.
And you know what the good thing hearing about it is, though, as well, is it's loads of people that have never played a FromSoft game, or loads of people who have played previous Souls games that didn't like them, picked this one up and are enjoying it. And that's the benefit. I don't even think FromSoft expected the game to do as well as it is. I think if you ask them, did you expect 1 million concurrent players on just PC alone for your game, like weeks after launch? Would you have expected that? I very much doubt they would have said yes. Like, none of their Souls games have performed that well.
Usually a lot of people avoid the Dark Souls game because it's too challenging for them, and they don't like that level of challenge.
Exactly. But hey, what can we do? Let's get this moved over a little bit. Let's get this moved over. Boosh. A little bit of gameplay going on here. But yeah, obviously I didn't have time because PS4 didn't want to connect the me recording thing, and when I tried to do streaming before, it didn't work. We've got a lovely video by another YouTube channel called Yellis Gamer, so it's his content here. But I enjoy watching it. It is Forbidden West. I've already got up to this and by this part, so it's pretty much where I'm up to now anyway. Speaking of Forbidden West, though, shout out to Crazy Louie, who's joining us as well. Enjoy, brother. Enjoy the pool. Sitting by the pool. I wish it was that warm. Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation 4 Pro. My honest opinion, wait until you've got a PlayStation 5 until you play it. My reasoning behind that, having played the best part of 5 hours of it so far, maybe 6 hours, and I'm not even in probably the most intensive areas. The console struggles. That's PS4 Pro. It spools up quite significantly when you are getting into the more intensive areas. The fan goes a lot. Anybody who's watched my stream for Horizon would have heard nothing but the fan in the background for the entirety.
Yep. I heard that.
That isn't the most annoying thing about it, though. The performance of the game itself in certain areas, you do get a little bit of you definitely get frame spikes. You definitely get inaccuracies in the frame pacing. You do have a lot of hiccups. The pop-in is terrible. The texture pop-in, as well as the LODs, so the level of detail over the level of detail pop in is horrific on PlayStation 4 Pro, and I would imagine it's even worse on just the baseline PS4. There is no performance or graphic options on the PS4 Pro, so you only have one set mode. I think it could probably benefit from going down a notch and even just putting it out at 2K. Just ignore 4K altogether for PS4 Pro. Put it down to 2K. Put a performance mode in. It's like 60 frames or something. Just aim for a bit more stability on it. There were certain sections where I would have a character on screen, just like you see now, a couple of characters on screen, and they would look a little bit like waxwork for about 30 seconds until the textures popped in, and then it would start to clear up a bit. If you're riding on a mount going through the area, the LODs and the texture work have a lot of pop in. Overall, it's pushing, essentially the game released on the PlayStation 4 is pushing the PlayStation to its absolute peak of what it can do, to the point where it is starting to get borderline not worth playing on previous gen. You could kind of put up with it to a point if you absolutely must, but I'm at the stage right now where I feel like it's hindering the enjoyment of the game. Having a fan that's that loud, having the pop in and the texture pop in and the level of detail pop in, the character detail pop in, pretty much all the time. It is detracting from the enjoyment of it, and I'm at a stage right now where I'm possibly going to just stop playing the game until I get a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I'm probably
Thankfully,
going to pick it up when I get a PS5 as well.
Thankfully, I picked up the version on before it launched where it comes with a PS4 and PS5 version. So I'm not going to have an issue having the upgrade thing beforehand. So when I get a PS5, I'll just be able to play it. But specifically when you're kind of forcing yourself to have to wear headphones to block out the noise of a fan is ridiculous. To put it into context, I'm also playing GT7 at the moment, and the fan spools up maybe once or twice, but throughout gameplay it doesn't go off. It doesn't have any major issues. There isn't any kind of major pop in. There is a little bit here and there on the PS4, but it's nowhere near to the extent of Horizon. Now, thankfully, the footage I've got on screen here is PS5, so you'll not notice any of that stuff. But yeah, I recommend, as someone who's still playing on the PS4, PS4 Pro, if you want to play Horizon Forbidden West, wait until you have a PS5, or wait until it comes to PC. That's going to be the best way to play it. Either of those options.
Make sure you buy it on the PS4 to get that free upgrade, though, so you haven't got to pay 70. I think it's 60 on PS4.
Yeah, buy it before you upgrade, or if you know you're getting the console the month after, then buy
really
it on the
weird.
PS4 and then play it on the PS5.
For both the PS4 and PS5 version, it's 60 on PlayStation 4. On PlayStation 5, it's 70, which is weird.
Yeah,
but you're essentially getting both versions anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, that's my thing. Speaking of PlayStation, however, and speaking of Gran Turismo, another negative one here, but we'll have to put it out there because we have to call it out. So we know PlayStation are going more into live service going forwards. We know they're going to get some more games as a service games going forwards. They introduced microtransactions into GT7, which normally wouldn't be a too bad thing considering it's cosmetics or cars and things like that. Okay, it's fine. You can buy those things. You don't have to buy those things, etc., etc. The microtransactions are in the forms of credits. The problem is when you compare the cost of the cars in GT Sport versus what they are now equivalent to in GT7, is where it becomes an issue. Now, this is a $70 game, or for the British, that's £60. Essentially, a $2.99 car that was in GT Sport is now the equivalent of $40 in GT7.
It's so ridiculous.
It's 13 times the amount
Bloody
in
hell.
GT7 based on the credit system that I've got in play. So essentially for 100,000 credits, it's something like $2.49. Going up to I think it's 500,000 credits or something like that for $20, 19.99. So essentially that 2 million car is going to cost you $39.98. It's the best part of $40. The most expensive car in the game is 20 million credits, which would put it at $160 to purchase via credits.
Bloody hell.
Now, if you're talking about the time to earning game as well, playing the game for probably about 2 hours gained me 50,000 credits. So that would be the equivalent of playing the game for 4 hours to get the equivalent of $2.49 pack of credits. So the time to play versus time to pay is not balanced out at all. It's essentially forcing you, if you're wanting cars, specifically the very quick sports cars, the hyper cars, the ones that you actually buy the game to race with, the formula cars, the GT cars, all of those type of things, the ones that cost millions to buy in game, by the time you save up to buy one via doing races, you probably have played the game 40 to 50 hours. You get roulette systems that aren't that great. It's a bit like a wheel spin if you've played Forza. And the roulette system, for me, every time I've used it, it gives us 5,000 credits. But you only get them every now and again. You don't get them all the time like you do for leveling up. You get them like if you complete challenges. And I've had maybe 7 roulette wheels. Now, out of those 7, 5 of them have been 5,000 credits and 2 of them have been 2,000 credits. So I've got nothing from it. Nothing. Not only that, but then you go into the car parts. And the car parts for race gear are the best part of 20,000 credits per part. So if you're buying a singular car and then want to actually spec it up to race with it and not just have it stock, then you'd be spending equal amounts on the car as you would be kitting it up in the first place. So the actual credits itself doesn't stretch. So
it's basically pay to win, right?
It is essentially pay to win in that stage. If you want a really good car and you want them to get them up, it's pay to win. Unless you're spending subordinate amount of time on that game. And it's a track-based game. It isn't an open world game. It's not an open world racer. It is a track simulator. And when we look at comparing versus other car-based sims, there's one on PC called eRacer or eRacing. The cost of cars on there are like $13 at most, I think, for high-spec cars. The issue we had when Flight Sim came out, which was a big deal to a lot of people, is they were looking at the cost of some of these planes that you would find in the marketplace. These planes, however, made by third parties, so actual other developers, should we say, that are then also making a profit from it because they're putting thousands of hours worth of development time into creating aerodynamic aeroplanes that have been working with in partnership with the creators of the plane and in partnership with the Sobo and in partnership with Flight Sim and getting engine noises down and the aerodynamics and working with the original plane's creator and designer to get these planes up and running and in the game. Your maximum amount of pounds you'll pay for a Flight Sim model of the plane would be £25. And you're talking, so even then, when there was a big kickoff on that, you're talking flight realistic model planes that have had thousands of hours worth of dev time put into them by third parties, not by Microsoft, not by Asobo, by random third parties that have put their own time into it. £25 is the max that you'll pay for a plane. And GT Sport want to make you pay for something that is going to go in the game anyway, if not already in the game, the best part of $40 to $160.
That's ridiculous.
It's obscene.
Never catch me paying for that.
You need a severe revamp of the microtransaction system or cost per credit system, whatever it is. Because whatever it is, isn't it right now. It's not. I'll get into my basic thoughts on GT7 so far. And again, this is on PS4 Pro. I cannot speak on PS5. On PS4 Pro, it looks no different to me, or Irwin for that matter, than GT Sport on PS4. Graphically, looks no different. If they have changed anything graphically, that God knows what it is. The only other thing that they have included is dynamic weather. That's obviously a nice addition, but graphically, there's no changes. It looks identical to GT Sport. Performance-wise, it runs fine. Load times can get a little bit long at times. Plenty of content in there, which is good. Overall performance, I've had no issues with the overall performance of the game, which is great. Also, I have noticed some graphical issues. I think Irwin spotted a little bit of them as well. There is some pop-in. A lot of it is scenery pop-in. It's got nothing to do with the cars. The cars are always immaculate, so you'll not ever have issues with them. There's shadow pop-ins. The level of detail, draw distance isn't far when it comes to shadows, so they will pop in and out depending on how far away they get, and it's noticeable when they pop in and out. The level of detail actually increases when you're in replay mode after the game as opposed to during game, which is really strange. You'd expect them to really have the same level of detail during the race as you would after the race. It is a great simulator. If you're playing on the PS4, specifically with a pad, it feels absolutely no different to GT Sport, in my opinion. Feels identical. There's been no differences there. If you're on a wheel, on the other hand, I'm sure Irwin will give more of a further detail. I think we're going to be doing kind of our review or review in progress together as well soon on GT7. But other than some snap in understeer and some snap oversteer, he hasn't really noticed too much of a difference on that. There is, depending on car, sometimes it can slide out. He has a full sim racing setup with a Fanatec wheel. He's used that on multiple games. He has to tweak his settings, of course, for every game to make sure they're down right. He has noticed it doesn't feel the greatest yet, but he's getting used to it. But overall, not too dissimilar from GT Sport either on that front. GT5
I've not
again.
really looked much at this game, to be honest. I've only seen small snippets on Twitter, so I have zero clues.
It has a gimmicky. It has more arcadey modes than they have previously, which is good. So they've got something called Music Rally. Music Rally is essentially you play along to a music track, and you've got to get as far as you can on the track within the time of the music playing. So essentially, whilst that track's playing, and it's got a bar on the top with the song and all of its peaks and troughs, and it has the trophies that you can win depending on how long you can drive for until the time runs out. So until the track finishes. So for instance, you might have 4 minutes for bronze, 5 minutes racing time for silver, and then 6 minutes 30 seconds for gold. So essentially, you've got to get around the track, or at least like finish the track at 6 minutes 30 seconds. by the time that the track finishes. So they're cool. There's about 8 or 9 of them, and they'll be adding to it going forwards. They've also got the licenses as well, where you've got gold, silver, and bronze things to achieve, and of course to make that competitive because you can see leaderboards. You've got the online modes to play with your friends and play a split screen, and then you've got sports modes, which is the competitive online competitions for sim racers, for actual sim racers. So essentially, for the casuals like me, you, Jen, or anybody else that plays GT, the sport mode is not for us. That is competition rules. That is, if you go over the line, you get flags and penalties. That is, if you don't pit correctly, you get flags and penalties. If you bash someone, you get flags and penalties. Change of tires, change of oil, change of weather dependent. All that stuff is for actual sim racers. So that mode essentially is null and void for anybody who doesn't want to do realistic sim racing. Unlike normal online multiplayer, it's fine. You can set the parameters yourself. And again, split screen, fine. You set the parameters yourself.
Can't say I'm into that simmy stuff. It's not for me.
Yeah. It's all right. Like I say, it's all right. It feels much better when you're in a decent car. It feels very sluggish when you're in a rubbish car. That same goes for most racers, to be fair. It feels really cool when you're driving around a really fast car. It's also a lot easier to drive on the game when you've got a really good car because it doesn't wobble about corners and doesn't have loads of oversteer and things like that. So it's fine. But really, we do need to call out both Sony and 343 today, specifically for those two things. So Halo, fix your content. It needs more, and soon. Not
Get a bloody roadmap out
in
so we know when to expect stuff.
Yeah, proper roadmap. So at least we've got an idea. None of this loose roadmap stuff. Doesn't cut it. Not this far into it. It's 8 months by the time you've released 2 maps. That's not good enough. And GT Sports, GT Gran Turismo developers, Polyphony Digital and Sony PlayStation, sort your act out when it comes to the microtransactions. That isn't it. That's not good enough. Fix it. Thank you. Next. What other news we got to go through today, Jen?
A number of companies, game companies, including Microsoft, Nintendo, have halted sales in Russia. So that's
and rightfully so.
That's good.
Yep.
Hopefully, more people put pressure on Russia and reduce sales of stuff in Russia, because what's going on is just not right.
Yep. And here's our daily announcement. Fuck Putin.
Yep. Fuck that guy. He's a fucking asshole.
Yep. He has no care for human life.
Nope.
The fact that he's broke ceasefire agreements to start shelling on humanitarian routes to get people out of there is abhorrent.
Those are women and children. Women and children trying to get away while their loved ones stay back and fight.
Yep.
And they're bombing innocent
Ukraine will defend its city for all it's worth, but they just want to get their women and children out of there first. Men are more than happy to stay back and get rid of you one by one. But the vast majority of Russian soldiers don't want to be there.
The thing is, like we see on the news, most of the Russian soldiers are kids. They're just kids.
Yeah, they are 19, 20.
Half of them don't even know why they're there.
Nope. At least the Ukrainians know what they're there for and know what they're defending. The Russians don't. The vast majority of them thought it was a training exercise. The only ones that had any idea were the ones coming from Crimea. And that's because they're already essentially Russian occupied.
It's just disgusting what
aside from that, it's abhorrent. We stand by Ukraine until they eventually overcome and I wouldn't even say the Russians, because it's not their fault.
No, it isn't. The Russian power, the power that's behind the people.
Yeah, it's the horrific dictator that they've got involved at the moment that is attempting to try and blame the West for what has gone on, after initially leading with the fact that he was calling them all Nazis, etc. So Horrid. To go back into the gaming aspect of that, of course, our thoughts are with all of the developers of the likes of Stalker 2, who have naturally focused on looking after their developers. So development on that has been put on hold.
It's way more than understandable. And if I
Yeah.
see anyone complaining about that on Twitter, I'm blocking them because
Yeah, and
right now
that
it's not the
includes
time to worry about that.
exactly any Xbox fanboys, any PlayStation fanboys, anyone who's kind of asking for when it's going to be released, etc. Just block them, because if their focus is primarily on video games in a time like this, specifically from Ukrainian-based developers, or developers that work in and around Ukraine, that have had to put their livelihoods on hold because of dictators invading their country and threatening their lives, and they're complaining about a video game, they're not the people who want in that community.
There's more important things going on in the world
Yeah.
now than worrying about a development for a game. Those
Yeah.
people need to worry about their workers, their families, and making sure they're safe.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely exactly. So shout out to the developers, both for the Stalker and for Replaced and many others. I think it's 7 or 8 different studios based in and around Ukraine that have naturally put their games on hold whilst they look after their studio, their staff. We know one developer, I've forgotten who it was now, but one developer based in Poland has someone Ukrainian based who has been injured in the fighting so far. I've forgotten who that developer is for, actually, but obviously thoughts are with them. And naturally, of course, even when you look at the Russian-based developer for I've forgotten the name of the game that's coming out as well. It's due out soon. It's due out this year. That strange Russian game.
I can't remember.
It was another one. It was looked like a little bit like a Half-Life-y type thing.
Was it Atomic Heart?
Yes. Of course, we haven't heard anything from them developers since this kicked off, in any way, shape, or form, whether that be to go against it or go for it. I think they're just keeping their head down.
I can't imagine. They're probably fearing saying anything, to be honest, because as we've seen in Russia, people protesting are getting arrested and
they're essentially going to ban
for
free speech in Russia at the minute. So they will be essentially unable to say anything in fear of being arrested. So obviously thoughts are out with the Russian people who are against this and are unable to show that without being arrested and thrown in jail. It's an absolute mess right now across the board. So again, naturally, our thoughts are with the Ukrainian people and hope they come out of this on top and win their freedom back. Whew. Absolutely mad. Well, what else have we got going on? It's just nuts. What else we got going on today?
We've got Guardians of the Galaxy coming to Xbox Game Pass on March the 10th.
Yes, we do.
Along with a few other games that are coming to Game Pass throughout the first half of this month that have been announced. There was something else I had earlier, but I must have accidentally closed it. I can't seem to find it now. I'm just trying to bring up an article, see if I can jog my memory. Oh, I think Activision, they're getting sued again over what's happened. Yeah.
Right. What are they getting sued for this time?
That's to do with the person that took her life because of the atrocious stuff that happened.
Good.
So
in that instance, then I'm happy.
It's a lawsuit that a lot of people should be supporting.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna force change.
Yeah.
Over this period, and yes, we know Microsoft will eventually own Activision, but for now, things have to change. on Activision before Xbox owned them, and they will change further when Xbox do own them. So, that's pretty much it, really. It's been another quiet news week, really.
It is, yeah. We've just seen Fanto in the chat there saying he's just bought Guardians of the Galaxy on disc as well.
Oh no! I mean, I've heard good things about it.
So far, it was one of them games where I managed to resist FOMO. Now I don't think I'll be able to. I'll be picking up Elden Ring next month. But like I say, I've got GT7 and Horizon here. But as mentioned, I'm going to put Horizon on hold after playing more of it today. I'd rather play it at its best than play it on the PS4 Pro. It is what it is. I tried it. I tried it on the last gen hardware, and unfortunately, I think it's best to experience that in its best format. GT7, on the other hand, it's a sim racer. It's going to be played just the same on either. It might look a tad better on the 5, but it's not something that I'll have to wait for, if that makes sense. So I'm not really bothered about that. One I did notice actually that I didn't know that was in Game Pass, and I didn't know when that happened either. But Flynn, Son of Crimson, I didn't realize that was a Game Pass title.
I think it's been in Game Pass for a good few months.
I didn't realize it was in at all. I thought it was just purchase.
No,
and I was having a look through Game Pass today, and I was like, "What else is there?" And then I seen Flynn, Son of Crimson, and I was like, "What?" The only reason I was waiting for that is I was like, "I'll wait until that's like I'm gonna get that like by itself."
It's a good game, well worth a try. I've been
I want
playing
some little games to play as well, and I was having a look. I'm stuck
in that game at the moment because I'm terrible at a part. There's like a part of a boulder that you got to outrun, and I can't do it. I'm just so bad at that. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. But yeah, other than that, it's a fun little game. I was really enjoying my time with it.
And I've also re-downloaded Grim Fandango again.
I've never played that.
Oh, you need to.
That's in Game Pass, yeah?
It is, yeah. It is.
I'll have to put that on my
Tim
list.
Schafer's game, isn't it? It's one of Tim Schafer's mini games. So 100% play Grim Fandango. You'd love it. It's the typical like Monkey Island-esque humor, where it's like a lot of sarcasm, a lot of like it's point and click adventure, of course, naturally, where you have to go and grab things and do things and stuff. But no, it's nice. It's like 8 to 10 hours long.
I'll have a check of that. I'll maybe do parcel play on it.
Oh, definitely. You'd enjoy it. It's like I say, it's good humor because it's based. You are like Grim Fandango is based around the Day of the Dead, but you are the other in the other world. You are in the Day of the Dead. You are the dead, ferrying people in from the living.
I'll have to definitely do a parcel play on it at some point.
100%. It is a classic. It is old. Put it that way. It's an old game, but it's class.
I actually got a couple of things free with my PC. The email came through a couple of days ago. I think it was Total War Warhammer 3, the one that's just come out.
All right.
So I got that free, so I've just got to redeem that. And I might even do a parcel play on that because I've never played a single Total War game in my life. So it might be worth me trying that out.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Let's have a look. There we go. Got some Grim Fandango on the screen now. So this is the old version. I don't even think this is a remastered version, this one. No, this is the original. Oh, but it's funny anyway. But yes. What have we got coming out this week? Let's have a little look. Or this month. March games 2022.
I actually don't have an idea of what's coming out this month. I've not really been paying attention for upcoming games. I've been so busy with setting up everything. I've kind of forgot about what's on the horizon for gaming.
Games come out in March 2022. Right, what we got? So, Siri for Okay. Dead by Daylight Chapter 23 on March 8th. Thursday, March 10th, Assassin's Creed Valhalla Dawn of Ragnarok expansion. 11th of March, WWE 2K22. They're the big releases for Xbox. Let's have a look what the big releases are for PlayStation. Oh, here we go. All of them, not just some of them. So we have LX2, Far Changing Tides, which is now on Game Pass. Shadow Warrior 3, which is out now on PS Now, if you have PS Now. And also on Xbox. Gran Turismo 7, of course, out on March 4th, which is out now. Triangle Strategy on Switch, which is out now. Came out 2 days ago. RPG Time, The Legend of Wright on Xbox, Android, iOS, and PC, March 9th. Ashwalkers on Switch, March 10th. Aztec Forgotten Gods on everything, March 10th. Chocobo GP on Switch, March 10th. Grand Theft Auto Next Gen Update or Next Gen version, March 15th.
Don't anyone dare buy that, please. Don't. Do yourself a favor.
Tunic comes out on March 16th. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, March 18th. I've actually cancelled my pre-order for that. The Ascent comes onto PlayStation on March 24th. Ghostwire Tokyo, PlayStation and PC, March 25th. Kirby The Forgotten Land on Switch, March 25th. Tiny Tina's Wonderland, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, March 25th. Crusader Kings, PlayStation, Xbox Series, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, March 29th.
You said Ghostwire Tokyo, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
March 25th, Ghostwire Tokyo. Death Stranding Director's Cut for PC, March 30th. An RTS game called Starship Troopers of Terran Command on March 31st for PC, and Weird West, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, March 31st. Let's have a look here. So for PS Plus members in March, you are getting Ghost Runner, Ark Survival Evolved, Sonic Team Racing, GTA Online, PS5, Shadow Warrior 3, Crisis Remastered, Relicta, and Chicken Police Painted Red. For Game Pass so far, Chicken Police.
Never heard that before.
For Game Pass so far, you're getting Far Changing Tides. Of course, that's out now. Sacred 2, Fallen Angel, March 1st to March 15th. Games with Gold. Flame in the Flood, March 1st to March 31st. Games with Gold. SpongeBob Truth or Square, March 16th to March 31st. Games with Gold. Street Power Soccer, March 16th till April 15th. Games with Gold. A Memoir Blue, March 24th, Game Pass. Crusader Kings 3, March 29th, Game Pass. Weird West, March 31st, Game Pass. Shredders, March to be decided, Game Pass. As well as we know, of course, having Guardians of the Galaxy drop in there as well as a nice surprise.
Yep, that's a list of a game I'm going to do for Parcel Play.
Yes.
So.
Of course, we also had Babylon's Fall drop this month, and it released to a whopping 650 players on PC.
Yep, Babylon failed.
Babylon fell very far.
It's a shame.
Games with Gold is definitely getting very lackluster.
I wonder if that will go into Game Pass very quick to try and save that game.
Probably. For those of you wondering, I'm not just drinking regular chocolate milk. I'm drinking Chocomel, which is the Dutch chocolate milk. It is the best chocolate milk, and nobody can tell me otherwise.
I've never had it, so
if you can find it, drink it, and you will enjoy it.
I love a chocolate milk, me.
Yeah, but it is, like I say, it's the Dutch. It's Chocomel. Over here, it's usually pretty expensive compared to what it is over in the Netherlands. Like over in the Netherlands, you can get like a 2-gallon jug of Chocomel for like €3. Over here, you'd be lucky if you find a can of it for £1.50.
Yeah. There's
one of them
me
stupid
over
like
here
American...
drinking Ribena and
Yeah.
water. And you're drinking lovely chocolate milk.
Yeah. I mean,
fresh out of chocolate
I think
milk.
to Fanto's point there, games with gold's getting very lackluster. I see them at some point ditching games with gold and just putting whatever games into Game Pass. Yeah, Babylon's Fall is PC and PS5 only. I don't think that was the issue. I think their main issue was that they tried to release a games as a service game in a month that contained some of the biggest games of the year. They're not going to get anybody's attention when Elden Ring is out, and Horizon, and GT7, and on Switch's side, Kirby's just released. And then you also have the Witch Queen for Destiny. And then you also, it's just so many titles, big titles have come out this month to expect Babylon's Fall to have succeeded. Specifically in the manner it did. It's not a great game. It reviewed poorly, very poorly. In fact, it was like a 40-something on Metacritic. It was equally as bad of a reception of Babylon's Fall as Crossfire X did. So it doesn't say much. It's not to say some people aren't going to enjoy Babylon's Fall. They might. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. After all, everyone's got their opinions. I'm not going to, if you like it, great, more power to you. If you don't, you don't. But it was a bad month to launch a game in such a stacked month. Do I think that'll be the time they drop gold? Yeah, 100%. I think once they've got rid, and I think what the reason that they're still doing games with gold is they're just kind of cycling through all the shit that they haven't already give people for free. Because right now, what haven't they already give people in games with gold? And you can go back and use previous games with gold and download them anyway for a vast majority of the time. So what haven't you already got that they've already give out, and it's very limited?
I can't even remember the last games with gold I actually bothered to install.
It's every now and again I'll see one and I'll be like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'll download that. Just to have it on there. And once I've already downloaded it once, I can just uninstall it, and then at least it's in me files to reinstall at any later date. But I think they're just cycling through the shit to get to the point where they're just like, that's it. I think we've pretty much covered everything, so let's just scrap gold. Like games with gold, just scrap it and just continue focusing on Game Pass, and then just put ever into Game Pass from now on. Because that's going to get you more people playing it than it is anything else. Yeah, see that. I re-downloaded games I claimed in 2007 this year. Yep. But never mind. Never mind. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I think we've got Ghostwire Tokyo coming up as a big release. Redfall at some point still this year releasing. Starfield releasing. God of War releasing. So we've got two from either side still to go this year. Big ones. And I think third party are pretty much mix and match. Pretty much here, there, or everywhere. What are you likely to pick up for the remainder of the year? What's in your radar?
Mainly towards the end of the year, really. I'm really looking forward to Starfield. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I do want to try out Ghostwire Tokyo because when I watched the gameplay that they released recently, I was like, oh shit, this looks like a Doctor Strange game. Yeah. And that's piqued my interest, but it's not to the point where I'm like, I need to get that day one.
Yeah. I'll be getting on CD keys on PC.
Yeah. I'll be playing that on my new PC at some point. I'll wait for it to. I'll see what the reviews are like. If the reviews are like it's a must play, then I'm probably going to be more along the lines of grabbing it as soon as possible.
Yeah, to the point, Fanto, Stalker 2 has been indefinitely delayed, whilst obviously they live and work in Ukraine. That's not coming out this year now. That's been indefinitely put on hold until the Ukraine crisis is essentially over. I'd imagine some of them might be going to fight and try to secure their country. Either way, they'll be trying to stay safe at this point. So, yeah, as much as we all look forward to Stalker, unfortunately, yeah,
devs' lives are more important.
Yeah, it is. It was one of my most anticipated this year as well. I'd actually pre-ordered it, and then it got pushed back to December. Was it December? It was December, wasn't it?
I believe it was around December time,
I think it
November
was
or
8th
December.
of December
I
it
think.
got pushed back to. And then it got thing. Then I pre-ordered it again for December, and it's still showing there as December. But I know that they've come out on Twitter and said it's indefinitely delayed until they're secure, and whatever this situation is kind of sorts out. So yeah, it's an unfortunate one. Like I say, Atomic Heart will be in the same boat because obviously they're on the Russian side. They can't say anything right now because freedom of speech has essentially been ruled out in Russia. So, but I'd essentially mean that would be put on hold now as well.
They basically banned the words invasion and what was the other one?
War
in Russia. War, yeah.
So but basically anything that goes against their rhetoric.
So anyone that uses the word war or invasion online in like social media groups from Russia, they'll get in trouble with the Russian government, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, they're not allowed to tell the truth. Yeah, as Fanto said. Another big thing that came out of it as well, which of course will hurt any Russian developers, is the fact that Visa and MasterCard are suspending payment services in Russia. So nobody's going to be able to use Visa or MasterCards in Russia either, which would halt any transactions. And the vast majority of the world operates on Visa and MasterCard. So fortunate for the Russian citizens, but that's, of course, it's going to hurt them in the short term, most definitely. But what it will do, and the primary reason for it, is to restrict any monies going to the government so that they can spend on their armed forces.
Yep.
So, but anywho, any other games that you're looking forward to?
No, I'm really looking forward to that Lego Star Wars game that comes out in April. I'm going to have to grab that without a doubt. It's like
that's next month,
entire saga of Star Wars movies rolled into one game.
Yeah.
So
I think you need to do a pass-up on that when you buy it.
I probably will. Because
you can give an honest pass-up play because now you can't. Now it's going to be like buy or wait. It'll be an actual
pretty
review.
much, yeah. So because I did drop the idea of just keeping it as Game Pass. I don't want to be limited to one thing. There's plenty of platforms out there that I want to enjoy games on, and Pass or Play could do with being about all of gaming rather than just one platform. So
yeah, most definitely.
That's on my old list of things to do for Pass or Play.
Awesome stuff. I'm just looking forward to. I am looking forward to Ghostwire. Like yourself, I'm not going to get it day one.
Yeah,
I'm going to wait, get it on CD keys for a little bit less, and play it on PC.
I'm going to do the same with Elden Ring. I want to play it, but I'm just going to wait for it to come down in price. I'm in no immediate rush.
Well, I've got some points I've saved up on Xbox.
Same.
I've got almost 20 quid's worth of points. So next month it should already have some kind of discount on Elden Ring by next month because third parties don't take long to come down. First parties are usually the ones that drag their heels. So I'll probably pick that up at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see it coming to Game Pass for a while considering it's doing as good as it is.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to probably likely grab it in a month or two and then just enjoy playing it then.
Next month for me, because my original thing was to play through. It's damn you, Fanto, for mentioning Witcher 3. I nearly said Witcher there. My original thing was to play through Horizon, but of course, like I say, with the performance issues and the graphical pop-ins and things, it detracts from the enjoyment. So I'm going to wait until I've got a PS5 to play that again. It's a shame, but it is what it is. However,
yeah.
I have an Xbox Series console. I've got two of them actually. I've got the X and the S, and a very powerful PC, so I can enjoy Elden Ring on something that's next gen sooner rather than later. I don't have to wait for anything then. So I'll be picking that up next month and playing through it then.
I've got to get around to getting the first Horizon on PC.
Yeah,
because I do want to play that before I even play the new one.
yes.
So I'm
Yeah,
likely
definitely
get
get it on
PS5.
PC. It's on PC. I picked it up for £11 on CD keys.
Yeah, I'll definitely be grabbing it off CD keys.
Death Stranding's also £11 on CD keys.
Don't really want to buy that again. I've tried. This is my
I know.
second time of trying to get into it, and I couldn't.
To Fanto's point, it's probably some better news for yourself. They originally planned to have the update for Cyberpunk middle of the year, the next gen update for Cyberpunk in the middle of the year this year. And of course, that released last month, which was completely out the blue, of course.
I'm
right
enjoying
in
my
the middle
time
of a
with
busy
that.
month, they just
Slowly.
went, next gen update. There you go, have fun. So Cyberpunk's already out, but they also plan to have Witcher 3's next gen update in the same year. So it's a good possibility that the next gen update for Witcher 3 will be coming within the next, I would say, 3 to 4 months at most.
I expect them to do that as a surprise drop as well, like they did with.
And I expect it like you said, Cyberpunks. They just go, boop, it's out.
I love just going on Twitter and seeing a bunch of new people enjoying Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like even Pat's picked it up now, and Pat's really enjoying it. But I've seen so many people that have picked it up, and they're just like, I can't stop playing this game, and I love Pan Am.
That was me. That was me in my first playthrough, like when the game came out. I didn't get many issues. Some light bugs.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I got next to none. I got the standard cars like half in the floor type of shit.
I had that a few times, but nothing that broke the game for me.
No, it was just the stuff that I'd already experienced in GTA. Like your standard GTA bugs, your open world kind of games with cars bug. Like nothing that I'd not experienced before.
Yeah, but that's what I'm doing with Cyberpunk now. I'm just slowly going through it again. I'm taking my time with it, playing it at my own pace.
Yeah. See, I've finished 2 of the endings on Cyberpunk. I finished the 2 no bad ones. So I'm going to go Street Kid next and then leave Corpo for last. But
yeah, Nomad's what I'm doing at the moment.
The playthroughs. So essentially, once you've done a singular playthrough on one, then you can do the second ending without having to play through the whole thing again because it saves you at the entrance to the end.
Yeah,
I think
gives
you know
that
what
option.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The elevator.
Because I did the same on my first one, where it sort of takes you back to the like a point where the game saves it for you, where the no return point is, and then after you complete the game, it takes you back there.
Yeah. So essentially, you can then just do the second ending straight after that, which is good. It means you can kind of fly through the alternate endings for each one pretty quickly. But it does mean that you've got 150 hours worth, at least, if you want to do all 3. So if you want to do the first one all the way through, the second one all the way through, third one all the way through, they're about 40 to 50 hours as a playthrough from start to finish. You might be able to grind off a little bit of that if you just ignore a lot of the side quests.
But side quests are so good, though. It's so well made.
And so random.
Every side
quest
also
fit in well with the world.
Yeah, every side quest is sort of like its own thing. There's no
a lot of it kind of felt though that it was part of the main story, even though it wasn't.
Yeah,
like some of them, I was going through it and I was like, "Is this a main mission or is this a side mission?" I'm like, it kind of feels like it's still one of the main missions, and it's not.
Yeah, there was a ton of variety in those side missions.
Loads and loads. And I think it was I've forgotten who it was before, but he put up the a video clip of him playing. I think it was Scobie1 from Thistledew, who put up the clip of him doing the rock concert where you're Johnny Silverhand on stage where he like takes over for one last rock concert. And I was like, oh God, I remember that bit. And that was so awesome. Like you have to go and convince them all. And like, so he drives his car through the wall of some guy's house.
That mission was awesome.
It was such a good mission. But yeah, it's such a great game. I'm so glad more people are experiencing it and loving it as well. And actually getting into the game now and going, you know what it is? I'm loving this game. Now they can see what we saw when it launched, and essentially for me, it was one of the games of the year, if not the game of the year at the time, because I loved it that much.
Yeah, it was other people probably my game of the year. The year it came out.
Yeah,
and I was like you. I was lucky, unlike most people that got more problems with the game than we did.
Yeah, and even Phantos is the same. Cyberpunk is awesome now on his Series X. It is absolutely awesome.
It's amazing. I love it. I can't wait for future content for that game. It's starting to look bright for Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to get additional content, which is great. Now they can start doing the story, the extra story content. And I mean, God, heaven forbid you haven't already played through all 3 versions and all 3 different story modes and all 6 endings, because there's so much story stuff in there. So much. Like I haven't finished The Witcher 3, and I've attempted it on many occasions, but The Witcher 3's mainline story is the best part of 70 to 100 hours, which is double that I've put into Cyberpunk. I've put in probably about 60 odd hours into Cyberpunk now, and I've done 2 of the endings and loads of the side quests.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to Starfield so much, because
that's what I'm saying. Witcher's like 200 hours in The Witcher to finish, if not longer, to finish everything. Which is why I've never got anywhere close to it. I've never even got close. I think I got 30 hours on one playthrough, and because I hadn't played on it for that long, when I tried to boot it up again, I'd forgotten everything, and I was getting killed by everything. I was just like, I don't know how to fight. I've just forgotten everything.
I need to go back and complete Witcher. I never actually completed it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll probably attempt to play through it again on the next gen update. But it's just such a big game, and there's so many games out now. It's hard to fit it in.
I'm still slowly trying to get through Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. I'm still on and off playing that.
Yeah, definitely.
There's just so many good games out there that, like, Skyrim is one of those games where I'll come back to it every now and then.
Yeah,
just reinstall it and I'll play it and get lost in that game for a good few hours, and then when I'm done, I'll uninstall it and then come back to it another day.
But anyway, I think, Fanto, you're right. I've seen people put hundreds of hours into that already. Hundreds of hours. I think Miles Dompierre's put hundreds of hours in on PC, as well as now on PlayStation 5 or console or something. I think it's going to be like that for a lot of people. It's a big game with lots to do, lots of places to go, lots of things to find, lots of enemies to defeat.
I do feel like I'm missing out on it, but
yeah,
I'm just going to patiently wait. By time
I'm just going to be patient. You're right. I'm doing exactly the same thing. Be very patient. Oh, dear me. But we're coming to the end of today's show. Thank you to everybody who joined us. It's been absolutely awesome as usual. Thank you to everybody who's jumped in the chat. Again, massive shout out to Fantos, Stuff Sean, Scott X2, of course, jumping in, Silent Cypher, Maisuko, Apache, Apachai, sorry, I keep getting that wrong. Barely Making Rent. We know that, of course, Boxer Bear was in the background there. We did have our great old Russian ver.fyi rubbish sitting in the chat there. We'll block that user. Boosh. Who else? Perrin Pluck, of course, joined us today. Sourblow Gaming. Mr. Joanna Doc on VOD. So shout out to himself as well. Paulie FC. Crazy Louis Gaming.
Erwin's just dropped in the chat.
Yeah. Who else has just jumped in? There he is. Oh, and Mr. Erwin. Tomorrow, GT7. Yes. We'll play some tomorrow after work, Erwin boy. No problem. Play some more GT. We have spoken about GT today as well, sir. But yeah, it's been awesome. It's been absolutely awesome. Hope everybody enjoyed the chat. Shout out to everybody who joined us again today. And for those of you catching up on demand, we hope you also enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be back again next week with another episode of the midweek mix-up weekend edition. And of course, you can catch our regular show in the middle of the week on the standard midweek mix-up episodes on Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. GMT. That's 2 p.m. EST and 11 a.m. PST. I hope you had an awesome day, everybody. Enjoyed the show. Have an awesome evening. And enjoy some gaming. Anybody who wants to jump on,
don't forget to install PUBG.
Yeah,
there's a tutorial you have to get through, which took me a little while to get through.
Yeah. Anyone who wants to play some PUBG, add us. We'll quickly drop our gamer tags in the chat here. There we go. Anybody who wants to play some PUBG afterwards, feel free to add us. We'll have some games of PUBG on Xbox, of course. Until then, yeah, thanks, Scott. It's a nice shirt. Have to represent my guys. Have to represent them. But yes, feel free to add us. We'll be playing some PUBG after this. I'll probably go and get a top up of a drink, but I'll be on straight away. Until then, guys, have an awesome evening. We will see you again soon.
Take care,
Goodbye.
everyone.